Welcome guys and gals, it's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest Kengan Omega discussion video for chapters 98 till, well, we're going to have to see how far we actually get, because I already recorded this particular video and realized, that wasn't hitting, that wasn't it. So I'm going to re-record this particular discussion, and I'm going to add a little spice, a little sprinkling or dash of something a little different to entertain you guys through my rants, through my tangents. For those of you who don't know, we are starting off on chapter 98, and at the end of chapter 97, we know that the round commencing is for the clone of Meguro Masaki. Spoiler alert, it's basically confirmed in this particular set of chapters. And it's Hayami Masaki versus Arashiyama, the Gentle King, one of the two kings of Purgatory. So, though Purgatory has been a wee bit disappointing in the past, I assume that their top tier, the top echelon, are going to be something fierce, something combative, something that can really shake me to my core and make me go, God damn, that was a fight, right? Well, we're going to continue the same format. Other than the Oma video, which I just had a lot of fun with. But I have a bunch of bullet points here in front of me, so you'll see me looking down a lot and that kind of idea and clicking around. But I have plenty of bullet points going in chronological order. But as I said, to add a little bit of difference to the video I already recorded, which was almost an hour long, I decided that I didn't really like the way I did it, the way I formatted it, right? So here's what we're going to do. This here is a full beer. Might look a little bigger, but it is a full 1-can mug o' beer. Alright? Now, we are going to test my patience. We are going to test my patience with this particular round. And I will be shocked, I tell you, if that beer is not gone every single time something that I don't like happens. In this round, I'm going to take a swig, and we'll see if that glass is empty or not by the time I'm done. Adding that little dash like I told you guys. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into the discussion, starting off with, as you guys know, chapter 98. So, the opening premise is quite nice. He is apparently the Gentle King is also a judo practitioner, a judo master, if you will. We'll get to that. But he's able to completely compress the time lag, similar to how Kuroki Gensai commented in the previous chapters about Kano Agito's being able to switch between formless and martial arts and completely remove the time lag. This man hasn't done something so outlandish, or has he? Because what he's done, the Gentle King, and why he's so powerful is that judo is, of course, heavily based in throws. Throws are a two-step process. Grab and throw. Grab and throw. Hook and throw. Whatever you do, there has to be an initial motion and then the throwing motion. It's a two-step motion, a two-step process. He has reduced the time lag to almost not inconsequential that it appears as one motion. So fast that the fist eye of Yamagohan couldn't see it, could not perceive it. Though he catches on quick enough after seeing it a few times and recognizes what is happening, so still props to our boy. However, that is pretty epic. That is pretty awesome. And Arashiyama tosses around the clone of Meguro Masaki like a goddamn ragdoll. I didn't expect any less. I expected one of the two kings to win. You know, if the lower tiers are going to win through weird means and we're going to have murders and all this other stuff, then I expected this. You know, him to just get his shit wrecked. Well, that does not happen. That is not the case. What does happen, let's move on, is Oh, before I forget to mention, the redirect. Basically, what he's doing is basically the super form of redirection kata. He's able to just, with the slightest motion, he's just reducing. You can look at it both ways. He's reduced the time lag between the two motions, or he's so good at the throw that he can do it even with just the present like redirection kata from the Nico style. However, even a master of the Nico style and a specialist in redirection kata, specifically Oma, says that he can't do it. He implies to Agito, would you be able to do that? He said no. And the Nico style, you need balance between the four katas. Even if you are better in one area than the other, you'd have to solely focus on that and not necessarily the Nico style itself, so to get this good. So he's being hyped up. He's being absolutely hyped up. Is it a wee bit ridiculous? Yes, but it's still, redirection kata has been around since the beginning. So okay, we're fine with that. Here is where it all starts crumbling down. Because what we end up getting is, not only does Oma and Agito praise this guy as strong, powerful, doing things that they can't do. They both admit it. And we have the winner of the Kengan Annihilation Tournament, Kuroki Gensai himself, says this man is a master on his level. Okay. So, then we move on to the Gentle King's backstory, Arashiyama's backstory, which I like. I like it. I really do. He was obsessed with the idea of Boy M. It actually bleeds more into like why these guys joined Purgatory and stuff being so strong. It's another case of Carlos Mendel. It's the case of being too good at what you do, and the goals are gone. It becomes fuzzy and sort of like hazy as to why are you doing what you're doing? What's your end game? What's your end goal? Why am I trying so hard? What am I working towards? What is this? Questioning all that. Being too good. Being too strong. So he ended up leaving the judo world around 1920, something like that. I forget exactly how old he was. He was still a young man, but he fought through high school and stuff like that. And by the time he entered college or was college age, he was done with the tournaments. He was done. He had no challenge. And what he saw, though, was, and he read the articles about a Boy M, Meguro Masaki, doing his crazy judo stuff. And this, to me, is a nice callback to an otherwise relatively insignificant character from the Kengan Annihilation Tournament. The backstory was good back then, but of course, he lost and got killed by Mutaba at the end of the day. And Mutaba, we love our boy Mutaba. And the idea here is that we're sort of going back and referencing something that, and I like that. I like the idea that we had all these characters, and some of them died in the Kengan Annihilation Tournament, and some of them, maybe their livelihoods were affected, maybe this, maybe that, maybe the companies went bankrupt or soared or what have you. The ending result was multiple people's lives were affected, and as a result of those lives being affected, the connections they had to other people's lives would be influenced as well, and we're seeing that. It makes a very realistic feel to the world, that the deaths and the consequences that happened 2 years ago would still be resonating in certain people in certain places around the world to this day, right? So I like that. Great inclusion in that way. And the fact that he thought that this Boy M was so good. He looked and he said, oh yeah, this guy has brought my passion back. But he realized he was a murderer, blah, blah. He's like, the only way to do this is to train and train and train and then get so good and then leave the judo world, leave the spotlight and join the underground, right? That was the whole idea. Fine dandy. And he believes this man in front of him, the clone of Meguro Masaki, who, for all intents and purposes, at the end of this fight, we figured out. Not a point I'm disapproving of, but we do find out that it is Meguro Masaki for all intents and purposes. Fine dandy. So none of that part bothers me. And he's a clone confirmed. It's about time, because we know about the Oma thing with the heart. We know about Ryuki is likely a clone. We know that Meguro Masaki, this is a clone. We know that for a fact, because Hayama actually states it. Toho Electric Power is there. He states it. He's the representative, of course. He states it outright that this is the case. This is what happened. All that fun jazz. So, and the implications that he is going to be the Kengan Association, not the chairman, but one of the vice chairman or whatever it is, the assistant chairman, because if his fighter wins, that implies a lot more story stuff going forward. So there is that. There's a lot on the line here. And he believes him to be Meguro, but as I said, it is truly, and we do see him sparring with his brother. So Meguro Masaki did know, he's not like fooling anybody. He actually did know the original. He knew the clone and stuff like that. Like he likely doesn't know he's a clone. He thinks of him as an actual brother, but this is what it is. This is the case. So that's leaving a lot of plot stuff that open-ended that I like. That's all fine dandy. I actually like the idea that this guy's not just whack and just being a big lummox and the electric power company dude, Hayama is just telling him whatever he wants to hear to use him. He actually did fight and sparring his ass kicked by the original from the Kengan Annihilation Tournament. Fine dandy. But here's where I got an issue. They hype up Masaki as though he was top tier. They hype him up. Now, the argument as for why he wasn't top tier was that he went fucking crazy, right? That's the reason. That there's no ands, if, or buts. That's the reason. That's the reason given in manga. Now, the problem here is that we just saw him talking about how Arashiyama, it might be stronger, but Meguro Masaki was scarier to fight, and he seemingly kicked this guy's ass. So wait a minute now, and you can tell me evolution during the fight. You can make that argument. But bridging the gap from where we had Meguro Masaki, the guy, the brother, the clone that lost to Meguro Masaki from 2 years ago, a guy weaker than that, bridging the gap to the top of the verse within a fight, within one fight. So, regardless how they hype up Masaki, saying without his madness he would have been the greatest fighter, this is the worst fight in Kengan, period. And we'll get into that later because there's still more alcohol to be had here, trust me. But my problem here at this junction is that you're going to argue to me that this man who is being praised by the top, Meguro Masaki, let's just get this part out of the way. The Kengan Annihilation Tournament from the original manga, everybody in that tournament was strong. Everybody. Period. No ands, ifs, or buts. Everybody there is a top tier strong fighter. They were strong. They're all strong fighters. We know this. We know this for a fact. But among the strong, there is the strongest, even among the strong. Right? And Meguro Masaki, mad or not, was not it. There were some bad matchups, not gonna lie, and we'll talk about that later in the video if we get there, because there's a round that happens later on that I really enjoyed for other reasons. But here, we have a serious issue. Because we're trying to, in universe, they're trying to claim that Meguro Masaki was a top tier fighter. Mujaba killed him. So, whatever. And that had he not been crazy, he would have been basically won the tournament. Had he been able to harness his madness, I believe is how they say it, or harness his insanity. That's how they phrase that. And apparently this man has done so. But wait a minute. Previously, Oma, Agito, Kuroki Gensai stated, this man is a master on my level. Now I ask you guys one question. One question. Could Masaki Hayama or Meguro Masaki, either one, don't care, could they defeat Kuroki Gensai? Purgatory rules, Kengan rules, fight in the alleyway. Could they beat Tokita Oma? Could they beat Wakatsuki? Could they beat Kano Agito? Could they? Because I believe your answer is a resounding no. So why the fuck should I believe that this man has any hope of bridging a gap that massive? This is the worst fight in Kengan. It is actually worse than Hatsumi Sen versus Kano Agito. I said it. It's the worst fight, even worse than that one. Had to drink that one for not only the worst fight, but having to remind me that there is such a terrible fight and this one's worse. Worse, ladies and gentlemen, worse. And the reason it's worse, spoilers ahead for the ending, is because, at the very least, Kano Agito versus Hatsumi Sen was a terrible fight, terrible representation. However, Hatsumi Sen did not lose to Meguro Masaki. He did not lose to Rihito. He did not lose to Kanada. No. He lost to one of the top class fighters in the verse. So even though it's a horrible fight, disrespectful and dog-walked, at least Hatsumi Sen lost to a top class master, a top class fighter, right? The difference here is the master lost, but not to a guy even on Hatsumi Sen's level. This is absolute dog shit. I have no other way to say it. And not only that, hold on. We're not done with this round. We are not done with this round. Because it is said by Lo Long, the second king, who now I have no fucking... at this time, Purgatory is absolute trash. And you know what the worst of it is? I actually like Arashiyama. I like the Gentle King. I like him. I don't like a lot of Purgatory characters. Purgatory fighters. Don't really like them. I like this guy. I like his backstory. I like his motivation. And I don't know how I can continue to like him. Losing. Because he lost. Spoiler alert. He loses. But he loses for the dumbest of reasons. Because he literally limits himself. Lo Long states it. He limits himself. And we're going to have to jump ahead slightly. We'll get back to it later in the video when we discuss the next round. But he limits himself because we've had now 2 fucking murders. And then they're saying, no, we're not ending the tournament. They decided not to end the tournament even though they had 2 fucking murders in the ring. They said, nope, not doing it because this is the underground. Playing by Purgatory bitch rules, but apparently the underground. Whatever. So, little odd there. But sure, fine, Danny, keep the tournament going. This is the underground. This is no MMA. This is no official shit. Okay. Fine, dandy. But the next round is called No Contest and ended. No contest and ended next round. But it was a win for Alan Wu the round before. Falcon uses poison claws and cheats to win, to poison and nearly kill his opponent, if not for Dr. Hanafusu. Naiden basically forced Ryuki into a point where he had to stab him, and he forced it in. But none of these are no contest. They go in favor of the wrong person. And the referee doesn't at any point stop the match. So when we get to this point, back to this round, what ends up happening is that he's limiting himself. The reason I said all this was because now, according to Lo Long, he's limiting himself by no longer trying not to throw the guy, which is judo, because his throws are so devastating. We see, Masaki completely bloodied and half dead man walking over here in an arena, but don't stop it. If he threw him once, maybe twice more, he might end up killing him. Arashiyama doesn't want to kill him. So at this point, he should literally be going to the referee going, that man's not fit to fight anymore. I can't fight him anymore. If I throw him again, I might kill him. So this should have been a no contest right there. Or not no contest. Arashiyama should be declared victor by default because any further, the man's going to die. That's literally stated that if he throws him a few more times, there's a chance he could die. Well, at that junction, the referee should be stopping the match. But there's no contest. We have murders going in favor over here. So at this point, it's fine. But that's why I had to bring up the next fucking round. Because next round, all of a sudden, we're stopping matches. Yeah, so there's that. Another swig for that one. Seriously. But not only this. So he limits himself to his throws that will kill his opponent and will only stick to judo, unlike his opponent. So that makes even less sense, realistically. Wouldn't he be disappointed? Doesn't he want to fight him as a judo man? I mean, fair. It's honorable. And I like him for it. But he's clearly the better fighter. And he wants to stick to judo, which I understand. But this, again, breaks the power system. Because there's opportunities where, like Lo Long says, he will not strike him. He had an opportunity to take out the match. And he didn't do it because it's not a judo move. Because he wants to stick to his martial arts. Even though the whole reason he was striving and getting so strong was to fight Boy M, who is now no longer using judo, it's sort of breaking his backstory and his reasoning for fighting him in the first place, wanting to fight him. He wanted to fight this guy because he was inspired when he got bored of judo. He saw a kid being amazing at judo and thought, wow, the world is kind of vast. I've still got more to learn to fighting in the judo world. To have this guy go against judo at this point should have broken the rules, the fact that he still wants to fight and stick to the judo, and he's still happy to be fighting him, he should Like, at the very least, we should have had a scene where he's like, I was wrong, you are not Boy M, you are not Meguro Musaki, you know, or something like that. I'm so disappointed, and then went for him, or something like that. The fact that he accepts that he goes into non-judo practices to try to fight him should be disappointing to Arashiyama. Like, I don't understand his goal anymore. His backstory made sense up to this point, but now he doesn't care. If this guy starts doing some Ryan shit, if he starts biting and teething and clawing, if he starts doing all this crazy shit, if he starts pulling a Mike Tyson trying to bite his fucking ear off, if he pulls out a knife or a gun, I feel like Arashiyama would be like, oh, so that's it. Ha ha ha. I can't wait to fight you even more. Why? Why are you so obsessed with a dude who's now abandoned the thing that you wanted to fight him for in the first place? So it's sort of breaking the character right there for me, which is bad. And it wasn't necessary to do this. It was not necessary. So then, after all this, they're nerfing the fuck out of him due to purgatory rules at this point, because now he can't use his super judo throws because it'll end up killing him. I think he throws him like once or twice more, but still, end of the day, he could have kept throwing him, could have kept the distance, do all that, but he has to change up tactics at this point, because if he doesn't, if he keeps it up, he might kill him. So now he's got to sort of go weaker on him as a result of purgatory rules and all this shit. So purgatory rules to blame, character to blame, lots of things to blame here, right? So, I mean, as I said, it's an honorable way to fight, to stick to your judo, right? To stick to your martial art. But him winning this is absolutely ridiculous. And I'll tell you absolutely why. Like, I thought poison claws were bad. I thought that was straight up cheating. But this is what doesn't make sense. If he's such a master on the level of Tokita Oma, on Kano Agito, and Kuroki motherfucking Gensai, Beard Sama himself, are you expecting me to believe that a master of that level could be defeated by sticking to his martial arts against a non-master? I'll extend an olive branch. Kuroki Gensai has to use karate in the Devil Dance. Tokita Oma has to use the Nico style and the advance. Kano Agito has to use formless and martial arts. Are they losing to this guy? Are they? Just, that's my olive branch to you people. Because those are three of the top fighters, arguably, in verse. If not the three strongest. And you're going to convince me that they'll lose to... So is this guy top of the verse? Is Hayama Masaki top of the fucking verse? This is the equivalent of Kuroki Gensai going up against someone who uses karate and then changes over to the Nico style, and all of a sudden he can't win. Or Kano Agito, which once again, switching between formless and fucking martial arts, he beat him too. And I think the comparison of Megan Masaki and Agito is laughable, but I'll give it to you. But he overcame that because he's a master. Now, if you want to argue that I'm taking the word of a character in universe as fact, well, what the fuck else are you supposed to take as fact? What am I supposed to do? When Kuroki Gensai says something in the manga chapter, be like, no, he's fucking lying to me. What am I supposed to assume? That every character, when they state something, oh, that guy's strong. Nope, almost fucking lying. Nope, Kuroki doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, Agito is actually chicken shit and not strong at all. Like, every time somebody said the Fang is deadly, am I supposed to disbelieve that too? I take characters who are fucking top of the verse at their word. I'm sorry if that's an issue. Like, oh. I mean, regardless of the limiting rules of Purgatory and the fact that they're trying to nerf him with the no throwing because he doesn't want to kill anybody and stuff, that is irrelevant. This man, with all his strength and all his power and being a master of judo on the line of Kuroki Gensai, should be able to take down this. Once again, everybody here is a strong fighter, just like the Kengan Annihilation Tournament. They're all strong. They all got their gimmicks. They all got their abilities and their bullshit. But I am not convinced that this man can take down a master. And the fact that he does, well, that's just fucking stupid. Well, actually, I think we did pretty good, because that's the end of my rant about that. That's the end. I thought I'd be through that a lot sooner. Through it a lot sooner. Yeah. So that's my rant on the worst fight in Kengan history. So far, anyways. What do you guys think? Now that that's over with, I went and got myself a refill, guys, and I think we'll be pretty good, though. That was the rant. That was the fun portion. That was half an hour of me bitching, but at least, you know, the original recording was like the same amount of time, the same amount of bitching and tangents and complaining and stuff. So I just thought I'd make it a little more fun, because when I was editing the original footage, I thought, like, man, I go on for a long stretch. I was like, how can I make this more enjoyable? You know, doing a drink counter would have been more fun, right? So that's that. I still feel that way. Worst fight in Kengan, period. Worse than Hatsumi-sen versus Agito. Easy. But we're moving on from that. And we're going to cover a couple more rounds. So I got some things to say, but overall, I don't mind these rounds too much. So yeah. So anyways, we do get to see Reno at the end of the fight. We get the whole Wu tradition thing with Hayama Masaki, who's now becoming Meguro Masaki, hence the whole Boyam, you are Meguro, whatever. Still doesn't explain shit to me as to how he could do what he did, but it is what it is. Already ranted. So yeah, so apparently the Wu tradition is being used on clones. That brings up, is it being used on Matsuri, or is it being used on Oma? Is it being like the Oma clones, like Ryuku? Are there other clones out there, not just Oma and Meguro Masaki, but other, you know, are there other clones of other people out there with the Wu tradition to turn them into the ultimate fighter sort of idea? So there is that, and Reno even acknowledged him as her brother and says, my poor little brother. And it's like, so she knows what's fucking going on. That's strange. I wonder, Reno always, I always thought she had a bit of more conniving, like more of an evil, black and white attitude towards things, though she didn't ever appear that way. So there is that idea, right? Maybe it's a joint effort between the Edward Wu faction and the Worm to clone and make the ultimate fighter, right? Something like that. I mean, it's the worst round, period. But at least the plot is thickening, and I like the clone story. I want answers to the clones. Like, what's the purpose? Why are they doing what they do? Like, we had Bando Yoe was involved, and we had Yamagohan's eldest son. He was involved. Like, all this stuff, it's all compiling into, like, what? Birthing the Ultimate Fighter, cloning the Ultimate Fighter, like in a test tube baby, making Perfect Cell. Is that the idea? I don't know, but I'm interested. I'm interested in seeing where we're going with this. So then here's actually a problem, but I ranted about this a while in the original, but I'm just going to say it straight up. Setsuna being allowed unrestricted access to Ryuki at this junction is absolutely dumb and stupid. Yamagohan might not be able to leave, but why the fuck? Koga is more interested in watching a football game, an MMA fight, than going and consoling his friend who just fucking had to murder somebody. You would think he wouldn't leave his fucking side. You'd think he'd go like, I gotta go check on Ryuki, guys. I'm sorry. Like, he's probably really messed up. Kano Agito even said it in his fight previously. Like, he's gotta go talk to Ryuki and say, like, you were at where I am and I understand how you're feeling. But, you know, where are they? Why is Setsuna allowed? Why is he alone by himself in a corridor with nobody around him after he straight up was forced to murder a guy not by his own volition and is clearly teetering on the edge and nobody thinks it's a good fucking idea, you know, to fucking, like, I give Yamagohan the excuse that the matches are still going on and he's in charge, blah, blah, blah. But even he should, like, in between matches, should be like, all right, we're taking a quick recess, blah, blah, we'll resume the fights momentarily, something like that. And he goes, he goes and goes to find Ryuki. Like, even that, like, I'll give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that he realistically can't leave. But Koga, you are there literally not even as a fighter. You're there as a fucking observer because you're not that strong. So go fucking help out the dude who actually just murdered somebody. If he's supposedly your best friend, you're the reason that he wasn't trying to murder anybody anymore. Go fucking give him a hand. And Agito, what are you doing just standing there? Go do it. Like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. So, anyway, well, I'll take a swig for that. But we'll move on from that. I don't like that at all. I think it's dumb that Setsuna was allowed. I don't mind Setsuna coming in here to progress the storyline. I think that's cool. But the idea that Setsuna can just go there, like Koga wasn't there, and say, hey, do you want to come and watch the match? Are you feeling okay? And Ryuki puts on a brave face and he goes, yeah, I'll be there in a few minutes. And then Setsuna comes around. Like, you could have still done it. I'm not upset at Setsuna poisoning Ryuki's mind. I don't like the fact that it's seemingly done so easily when he should be surrounded by people right now. That it makes no sense that he's just casually there in the middle of a corridor for, what, hours at this point? Like, what does it matter? So anyways, that was the other, that was another problem I had. So basically the round and the aftermath and round is fucking trash. But anyways, then we get Nicholas versus Akoya. And this fight was okay. I like the idea that I like seeing Gozo again. Gozo was in the hospital bed. He gave Akoya the green light to join. He's like, yeah, he almost killed me, but we were in a fight. It is what it is. He's fucking crazy. But he's also really fucking strong, so you'd be stupid not to add him to the team if that's what you want. You want strong fighters, add him to the team. So good on Gozo. Gozo's the champ. I like the idea that Agito brings out is that this is a very bad matchup, even though it's reflexes versus reflexes, a very interesting idea, like super fast reflexes, which is what makes him so dangerous. But this one is attacking the nerves. And Agito points out this is very bad for a defensive fighter, right? And what I also like is that usually when you introduce somebody with a power, right? Like an eye power, reaction time, can dual wield, can do whatever, right? When you go season 2, you usually introduce somebody who does it better than you initially, and then they overcome, blah, 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 right? Classic. But in this particular case, they actually we have our own super fast, superhuman reaction time guy. Our original guy is still faster, by a fraction, but still faster. Usually you do escalation. So I really appreciate that they didn't do it that way. However, as Akoya being a defensive fighter, and he is not only reaction time, but specialized in nerve attacks, it's actually a very interesting and bad matchup for Akoya being a defensive reactive fighter, where he's an offensive reactive fighter. So that's actually really fucking cool. So the match idea ends up pretty well, and the match overall is pretty good. I got no real problem with it. The backstory for Nicholas is kind of cool, or Nicholas. He's not actually Nicholas. He's a man named Jean-Luc, and Jean-Luc is apparently he idolized Nicholas, and then I guess Nicholas was randomly psycho. That's the one flaw with the story, is that Nicholas apparently put on a friendly face for 30 years, and then all of a sudden went fucking psycho, and we have no idea why or what reasoning he had. So it was kind of weak in the regard that he just went batshit crazy one day, I guess, or whatever. But Jean-Luc's backstory regards to it isn't bad, because so he saw his idol, the main characters, he puts it, of the story, go nuts, and he's like, this can't be right, and tearfully, it's breaking his mind. He ends up actually killing him after he murders a bunch of civilians, and then the idea here is that his mind can't accept it. He can't accept that Nicholas, the main character, is dead, because the story the story would be over, and what do we do? He's lost his shatter point, he's lost his vocal point, his center point, right? He's lost it. So the idea here is that his mind sort of broke or rationalized that, oh, well, that couldn't have been Nicholas. I must be Nicholas. And he must be Jean-Luc. Yes, because Nicholas is the main character. Nicholas wouldn't do that. Nicholas isn't evil. So that's the idea there. That's interesting. I like that. The only problem with the backstory, as I said, is that we have no indication as to why Nicholas went batshit crazy, or was he always crazy, or we don't really have a reasoning as to why he all of a sudden at 31, part of a Black Ops team, just PTSD all of a sudden overtook him or some shit like that. All of a sudden he became evil. Why? I didn't really... Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see it, so... Anyway, point is, the fight gets really brutal, and Lo Long has to step in because the referee calls the match. I know I just took a swig, but looking at you last round. How bloody a guy gotta be to call a match. So they end the match long before anybody's lost any fucking limbs or anything. They call the match. Lo Long has to step in and stuff. We get a badass moment with "Are you here to stop me?" and Oba's already there right behind him, like, if you make me, or if I have to, only if I have to. And it's like, okay, boom. So now we got the setup that Oma's definitely going to fight Lo Long. I have no doubt of that. And Rajito and Carlos actually come in to stop Okoya. Very interesting that Carlos was willing to help out and stuff like that. So that was actually a nice moment. Because I like Carlos, the more I see of Carlos, the more I like. Because I like him, even though he got a sort of a cheap ring out. That's been one of the most acceptable matches, and its outcome this entire fucking tournament to me. I thought I disliked round one. At this point, I would kill for another round one decision rather than the bullshit that's been happening. So, excuse me, is what it is. And then they declare it once again a no contest. And it's like, it's about goddamn time. Why are we discussing people with knives and murdering people as winners and losers when it should have been a no contest? One guy murdered a guy, one guy had a knife. This makes no fucking sense. This makes no fucking sense at this point that this would be a non-contest. They should have just let them keep fighting. Because they let everybody else keep fighting and murdering and knifing and stabbing and killing and bullshit, which they should have stopped. So, at this point, in for a penny, in for a pound. Makes no fucking sense. The fact that you could argue that after 7-8 rounds, they finally got fucking wise, and they're like, alright, we gotta start calling shit early before it gets to that point. That should have started happening after the Ryuki fight. That should have started happening after the Rajito fight. Let alone this late in the game. This late in the game, calling no contest with all the bullshit that happened previously is a problem. It's stupid. It's very stupid. You either let the players play or you call every penalty. You can't have it both ways, and you can't change your mind after the halftime. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way, and this is bullshit for the sake of making certain characters win, certain drama, certain this, certain that. It's plot convenience, and I fucking hate it. So that pissed me off, the ending idea of the fight. But the fight itself was pretty good. Then the next and last fight we're going to talk about, or no, there's two fights. There's two fights. We might get to both. We might get to both. Fuck it. This is going to just be a long fucking video. I don't care. So we have Lu versus Nitoku. I don't know how to say his name. I'm just going to call him Lu. Lu, people apparently really like him. I get it. I like the friendship thing between Lu and Naden. That's really nice. But personally, he's an okay character to me. I don't dislike him. I don't like him. I think he's just sort of there. As I said, I don't dislike him, but I don't get why people really, really love him. The friendship stuff is nice, of course, and he's got more character development than a lot of the Purgatory fighters. But at the end of it, the idea is what it is. I mean, I really like the fight. The shifting the vitals thing was a little anime-esque, but the fact that he lost anyways, that I sort of like the balancing act of, okay, we got a little bullshittery, but in the end it didn't really matter. So I sort of like that. But I thought a guy who went up against Agito claimed to have fought the Fang, sort of idea, hyping him up like that. But at this point, at first I was bad about that, but after the hype from Kuroki Gensai himself about the Gentle King, at this point, I don't care what the fuck a hype is. So at this point, I'm not disappointed. Like, at first I was disappointed. I was like, I expected more from the dude. Like, yeah, he's lose one of the 3 demon fists, blah, 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 blah. And realistically, he kicks his ass. Nitoku kicks the shit out of Lou, realistically. He should have been down, other than the power of friendship. MC vibes coming in here. But he kicks the shit out of him, realistically. But the idea here is that I think I expected a guy who went up against the Fang to win. You know, I mean, we see later on that Agito broke a sweat, but not much more during the fight. But at the end of the day, I was sort of like, You know, I expected more, but at this point, if Kuroki Gensai is going to praise a dude on his level who gets dog walked by a B-tier fighter at best, then at this point, I'm not believing the hype of anything at this point. Fucking broke. It broke me. So, yeah, well, we're talking about it, so another swig. So yeah, anyways, and I like the backstory of the unwanted talent is a curse thing, because it's done before the point it gets whiny and bitchy, because he talked about the unwanted talent, and it was done pretty well, but, and it was a nice way to end the fight, because basically he's talking about how he never wanted the body, blah, 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 and he always wanted to write books, and he always read, and that kind of idea, and he was cursed with this unwanted talent. And a lot of the times I don't like those characters, because I'm like, listen, man, if I hate baseball, but I can fucking hit a home run every time against the top players in the world, I'm going to play baseball in my 20s, make a zillion bucks, and then do whatever the fuck I want. Then I can write as many failed books as I feel like. I could be a manga artist. I could pay someone to teach me how to be a manga artist. You know what I mean? Because I got all the money. I'm set for life. Like, so I was sort of like, I don't know if I really like this, because a lot of those go that route. But at this time, he actually had some self-awareness. And he recognized that maybe now he wants to fight after fighting Agito. He made the realization he wants to win, actually. He wants to he wants his cake and eat it too. And you know what? The greed, I like it. The character development. And finally, he recognized that after accepting his talent, after accepting wanting to win, wanting to fight, wanting to learn, and fight strong opponents, he finally looked up at this dome and said, now I can write. And I'm like, okay, I like it. And a solid camaraderie, will you fight me again sort of idea, hell no, shouldering him sort of idea. The vengeance is gone, so Lou came full circle. It's just nice for both characters. We have 2 well-written characters with 2, a good, meaningful end to the fight. It was meaningful for both characters in this fight. It was an overall very good fight. Probably one of the best fights in the Purgatory matchups, in all honesty. It's one of the better of the fights, for sure. Top 3, at least. Top 3. Not that I've read them all yet, but it's what it is. So yeah, and then, they bring up a couple things in between until the last match, and we'll talk about the last match here in a minute. They bring up a couple things in between that match and the next match. Number 1 is the merit to people revealing themselves as worms, like Naden and Lutan and that kind of idea. Why? And I'm glad that they brought this up in universe, because I didn't really question it myself. It just seemed, okay, they're evil, but actually, why? There was no merit to doing it. They even bring up all the reasons why it's actually more beneficial for them to keep the fuck quiet rather than reveal themselves. What's their end game? What's their goal? Why now? Why at this time? We don't get answers, but before I even ask the question myself with reading, they're asking the question in universe. I sort of appreciate the self-awareness in that regard. Really do. Because now I'm making the questions, but they're asking them in universe, so I expect it to slowly but surely overall the plot will thicken, sort of idea, right? Then we get Joji and Mitsuyo, Cosmo's teacher and the uncle, and that kind of idea. And they're going to go kick the shit out of some worms, and I'm like, oh, that panel. I had to talk about that panel really briefly. That panel was badass. It's like, yeah, okay, fuck the Gentle King. We have real masters on the field in the stands, and they're like, gonna go give those worms some greetings. Oh yeah, I'm very well known for my greetings. I love greetings. Crack. You know, like, All right, let's go. And we get to see Mutaba. Mutaba is here, ladies and gentlemen. More a man than you. More a man than me. More a man than any man that ever manned. Mutaba is here. Yeah, so Mutaba's off vacation. Let's go. Can't wait. And then the last part I want to talk about is, of course, the last round. I got a couple things to say, but not much. I love the fact that Okubo not only showed up in a clown suit, being like, we're clowning on you fuckers, which they have been doing. If you were to count all the murders plus the bullshit, they already won this fucking tournament by now. They really did. Even when I'll even discount the bullshit win at the beginning of the video. I'll discount the fuck that. The Gentle King should have won. But by now we're fucking sitting pretty. But the idea here is that Okubo not only stayed in the clown outfit, but he's going to fight in the clown outfit. I love this man, and I know some point at the beginning of the video or later on, I talked about the idea of a character that is... I was talking about the Kengan Annihilation Tournament, talking about Meguro Masaki and stuff. Like, everybody in the Annihilation Tournament was strong, and some people got bad matchups. Okubo is a perfect example of that, and I think, I don't know, but I think that a lot of people probably disregarded him as being strong, or one of the stronger fighters. A, because he lost in round 1, but he lost to the Fang. And number 2 is that after his loss to the Fang, he is hanging out with the weaklings, or the weaker of the lower echelon. He hangs out with Ryo, he hangs out with Rahito, he hangs out with Kanade, he hangs out with those people who are realistically bottom of the tiers, right? So he's hanging out, but he's so I think people sort of, they make the relevance or they relate it to that sort of idea, but I always had faith in Okubo. I always knew he was pretty strong, the king of combat, right? So I always thought he was strong, and he's pretty goated for going in there with a clown outfit, right? Then we get the super shivering and the vibration and all that crap, and it's like, yeah, I like the fact that they're not explaining it like some natural ability. Hanafusu actually directly made this happen sort of idea, and the artificial... This is actually kind of cool. Not the super shivering stuff, that's whatever, but Hanafusu's explanation is fine. I like the idea, like, why wouldn't... If the martial arts world knows, and the underground world knows all about, like, the fist eye, and it's like a fighter having the fist eye like Koga would be ideal. Why not try to artificially make, with all the cloning and trying to create the ultimate fighter and Tiger Nico trying to make the perfect apprentice or some shit like that, with all these things going on, this entire manga, both mangas, you would think somebody would be trying to artificially create the fist eye. And apparently they did with this Emperor's Eye. However, it's wasted on this guy, Teryashi, who fights up against Okubo, who basically with just natural skills and experience ends up beating the amateur that is Teryashi, who is more of an assassin than anything else. His job there, his backstory is there. He's only there purposely is to go kill Nicholas, which I fucking hope he does, because whatever. I mean, I don't hate Nicholas, but I didn't like him that much either. So, I mean, it is what it is. Teryashi kind of meh. But I like that Okubo got a chance to shine, even with the gimmicks and the tricks and the super medically induced abilities. Okubo is still like, boom, 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 boom. It's like, you're lacking experience, you're lacking skill, and you're looking down on someone who can fight. Like, I'm not an amateur martial artist. I'm a fucking martial artist, motherfucker. And none of your gimmicks are going to work on me if you're not on my level. And I like that they're showcasing that, regardless of the bullshit and the gimmicks and stuff. Kuroki Gensai was just a karate master. I mean, super powered karate master, but at the end of the day, just a karate master. He didn't go Super Saiyan. He didn't have a Kamehameha. He didn't have any of that shit. He just is. He doesn't have Superman syndrome or superhuman syndrome, any of that shit. So, yeah, I actually kind of like the idea that they're the way that fight went. It was short, it was sweet, it was to the point. But yeah, and Okubo wins, and I'm really glad he did, because once again, as I already stated, I think people were sort of ironically clowning on Okubo for a little bit for hanging out with the weakers and the weaker contestants from the first series, and not really giving us much of a showing of how strong he could or was and is until now. So nice to see that, you know. But anyways, that's all the way up to chapter 119. This video is going to be probably over an hour long. Maybe I'll be able to shorten it. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you had fun. As I said, I basically the original recording had all these same points. I think I did it a little better this time. And also like having the fun with the drinking counter. I thought that'd be fun. I thought that'd be kind of just to make the tangent sort of lighthearted, that kind of idea. So what did you guys think of that? Was that a little more fun? Was it a little more I don't know, just a little more gimmicky, if you will, just to break up the mold a little bit, break up the standard? I don't know, I thought I had a little bit of fun with it. Something last minute, just a decision that popped into my head. So, but anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the discussion in the video. Like, comment, subscribe. As always, fourth and most importantly, don't forget to drink, but responsibly. Not like this video, but other videos, as I always do. And we'll see you guys back here next time for the next Kengan Omega discussion video. Looking very much forward to it, guys. See you back here next time. Bye-bye.